Hi, today we're doing one row of the figure 8 stitch for our Yarn Not Alone NICU blanket. Our NICU blankets for the cribs in the NICU or special care baby units here in Oman measure 45 centimeters by 60 centimeters. And when you're working on this 62 peg loom, it has 60 pegs from here to here and these two additional at the end, which we don't use for this stitch. And you can see that once it comes off the loom, it's actually smaller in width. So you can't measure it by the size of the actual loom. But if you have a look, it comes to around 44. If we were to stretch it out a little bit, we'd end up having something that comes around 45. If I'm not happy with this at the end, I will go around it with a decorative crochet border just to add that centimeter on. Today I'm using 2 skeins of our Himalaya Super Soft. This is one of our better value yarns here, and this is available for blankets, but it's not used for our hats. It's not quite soft enough for our beanies. But this is a medium number 4, and it comes up really nice in this stitch on the loom. So as you can see, we've already progressed quite well on this blanket. There is a different video, a separate video, which will show you how to cast on, and another video which shows you the best cast off for this stitch. So let's get going on this row. One thing that's important to do is to give yourself enough yarn out of the skein so that there's no pulling on it and no tight tension as you go along. I'm going to start my stitch. I use a straw guide. That's a personal preference. Some people just like to use their fingers. I go up. This is where my yarn is finishing from this stitch. I'm going up and around and diagonally down, and then I come up. This is where we get the name the figure 8 stitch from. So I go up and around, and then I come up. And I'm going to continue this all the way to the end, and then we will knit off this row. Remember, don't pull tight on your yarn because you will create the loom to come in on itself and to be a little too tight, and that tension won't work well for you. When I get to the end, I'm going to wrap the working yarn around the anchor peg, but this is the end that I will start to knit off. So I take the bottom loop and I take it over the top. That bottom loop over the top. Bottom over the top, and bottom over the top. Now by doing that end where the working yarn is, now I don't have to keep it wrapped around the anchor peg. It's already secured. So you're going to continue now to take the bottom loop up over the top. You can either work all in the one row, or you can decide to do a bit at a time on each side. If you're doing blankets for our NICU, this loom is a really nice size to work on, because when you're working on the smaller looms, it just means that we need to then go ahead and stitch those panels together. That one, when I took it off, I didn't take that bottom one off. So there we go, there it is now. And of course, stitching the panels together, it just creates a little extra work. And so if you have this loom, it's ideal to work on this one. In the set of 4 that we have, the four set of looms, this is the second largest loom, the 62 peg. Once I have finished this row, at the end of every row, I just press it down. And I just like to give it a little tug from underneath. That keeps the stitches all nicely in place. And now we're ready to start again, wrapping from this end back to the other. Every time you wrap the loom, there'll be one peg that will have one loop on it, and all the rest will have two. So you keep going until you get to 60 centimeters, and then you can see the video that shows you the best cast off.